Appreciate it.
Thank you, and love you for it. Thank you.
All right.
Now, if anybody was wondering what George Bush was invited and maybe not President Trump, is because, you know, they are cousins. Okay. It was a family affair up there. I'm just saying they're related, the Bush family and the Barack Obama. So that's why he was there. All right. And now let's move on. I found this video. I found it fast. Prep it up. It says generation cycles of fatherlessness are being broken. This is what we need to celebrate this weekend in America. Fathers of freedom are rising up. So the moment your kids realize you've broken generational cycles.
Forward, if your dad has ever taken you to the park. Take one step forward if your dad has ever taken you on a vacation. Take one step forward if your dad has ever gone to any of your graduations. Take one step forward if your dad has always lived with you. Take one step forward if you remember your dad taking you to school. Take one step forward if you remember your dad ever hugging you and kissing you as a little kid. Take one step forward if your dad has ever prayed for you and taught you scriptures. Turn around. Thank you, honey. Thank you for breaking the cycle. I love you.
Yeah. And these are the things that we need to do more and see more. Because, see, the media would have you believe that, especially Black Americans, and I'm not talking about melanated humans, I'm talking about the American Negro, that we just don't care about our children. We don't care about our community. We don't care about this country. And that is just false. And we are going to continue to break those generational curses. Now, I want to move on to the National Desk, and it looks like they are, the DOJ is going to sue New York. So I hope I pull up the right video. Apologies if I don't. Think this is it. Let me see. Nope, it's this one. Okay.
I'm 𝗓𝗓𝗓 in Washington, where the Justice Department is accusing the state of New York of making a backroom deal with a private company at the expense of millions of federal dollars. Vice President J.D. Vance accusing top health officials in the state of protecting a company that was breaking the rules in how Medicaid contracts are doled out and costing taxpayers millions. It's just the latest stop for the Trump administration's crackdown on fraud. The Justice Department blaming Governor Kathy Hochul's office for failing to take action to stop fraud in a home health care program used by more than 250,000 New Yorkers. In a lawsuit against the state of New York, the DOJ arguing the company Public Partnerships LLC was pre-selected through a sham bid process. PPL also accused of making false statements and misrepresentations about its staffing and financial readiness. Also of adding hundreds of millions of dollars of additional costs on the Medicaid program paid for by federal funds.
You know what these fraudsters are doing? They are taking advantage of American generosity to enrich themselves.
Vice President J.D. Vance, also President Trump's fraud czar, insisting the state's Medicaid and health directors are to blame. Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz has for months insisted home health aid programs are being abused.
It's the #1 job, more than retail in some states, and you're employing hundreds of thousands of people. But if we're paying for the kinds of services your family would normally offer you, balancing your checking account, carrying the groceries upstairs, well, I mean, you're going to hire your child to do those things. I don't know if you actually need him to do those things. He's getting paid, and that money, therefore, can flow back to the family unit. That's not a smart way of running a social system.
Critics raising concerns about how rapidly funds have been cut off around the country. The Washington Post reporting on legitimate small businesses that have been swept up, collateral damage as part of the crackdown. Public Partnerships LLC has already responded to the DOJ lawsuit, arguing it was chosen for its role through a transparent, competitive process. In a statement also saying it strongly disagrees with the complaint and will respond fully through the appropriate legal process. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzau.
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting to see what happens. And that was my concern, that, you know, there would be businesses that actually were doing the job, but they're going to get caught up just because of the fraud that's going on. And it's unfortunate. It's like the people that are doing bad are causing all of this. So it's like, okay, you got to straighten up your act. This is why it is always imperative to do what's right, especially when you're dealing with federal dollars. And a lot of people have just been getting away with stuff for a long time, and it's stopping. All right. So the next one I want to get to is about this LA. Okay. So Los Angeles wants non-citizens. They're putting up a vote for the citizens to allow non-citizens to vote in just local elections. So not the, I want to say not the state or federal elections, but just the local elections. So like your mayors. But I was like, how are the ballots separated? Because most of these elections, it's like a whole ballot. So really? So there's like all these special things going on? So there's special ballots for non-citizens. Let's check it out.
For voters in city elections, the city council took the first step toward giving non-citizens the right to vote. The proposal will appear in your November ballot.
Sounds controversial.
Yeah.
Here to break down the measure is the director of the Los Angeles Initiative at the UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs and former city council member 𝗧𝗢𝗍𝗍𝗧𝗏. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Good to be with you this morning.
All right. Yes,
We know it's early, Zev. Thank you.
Let's talk about this measure, though, that asks voters to give the city council the power to approve a law asking non-citizens to vote. Voters will see the measure on the November ballot now. It's based on the idea that anyone who lives in the city and contributes should be able to vote. Do you think voters will approve of this? I have to believe this is controversial.
Yeah, I suspect it's controversial, and I don't know what the odds are of it passing or not. The city council yesterday took the first step towards doing that. I think there's some reticence about it on the council. I watched the debate yesterday. I think they're going to have to deal with a number of logistical problems because we're talking about non-citizens. How do they register to vote? How does the county registrar handle this? Because they handle all the elections. How do they discern who can vote just on the local races? That's what they're talking about. They can only vote on the local races. So like on the election 2 weeks ago, the governor's race would not have been, they would not have been able to vote on it. So how does the registrar differentiate between that and the city council race? So I think there are a number of issues that have to be resolved before they can even execute this. Approval, first of all, the voters are going to have a chance to weigh in. They have to decide to do it. Whether they will approve it or not is up in the air. I don't know. I suspect it'll be controversial. Secondly, if they do approve it, that only gives the city council the authority to do it. The city council would then have to execute that plan, and that could take some time.
Interesting.
And as you're pointing out, a lot of logistics would have to be worked out. Okay, a proposal that did not move forward, but that's getting a lot of attention, is aimed at expanding the city council. Right now, from 15 members, it would be to 25, but the Rules Committee said that measure needed.
Okay, so I'm gonna remove it. Los Angeles is wild. Okay, so I ran this through Grok, and I wanted Grok to basically check it and do a non-biased. I want a non-biased answer, right? I don't want a biased answer. I want a non-biased answer. Just give me the facts, right? So here's what I put in Grok. I said, recently, Los Angeles has put forth a policy to allow individuals that are not United States citizens to vote in local elections. Is this a violation of state and federal constitution? In my opinion, it is, because the only individuals, according to our constitutions, federal and state, are Congress. Congress can only change immigration law of what's allowed and what's not, right? So I said, also, does this show that Los Angeles has been in violation of Title 8, Section 1324, which is harboring illegal aliens, giving shelter and other protections, sorry for the space, to undocumented individuals? Please give an unbiased response based in facts, not talking points. So it says no. Allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections is not a violation of the U.S. Constitution or California Constitution as currently interpreted and practiced in some jurisdictions. Here's the key phrasing. How they are interpreting it and how they're practicing it is different than what is legally what it's supposed to be. That's my opinion. I'm just giving my opinion right now. Okay, so though it is a contentious policy change requiring voter approval in Los Angeles and subject to legal challenges, which in my opinion, it will be, because like the commentators were saying, the newscasters, they were like, the logistics around this, are you kidding me? So you have 100,000, and that's a low number of non-citizens. Where